Welcome back to the Silver Support Network channel. Today I'm here with Becci McCormack, Realtor Extraordinaire, Senior Real Estate Specialist. Becci, welcome. I'm glad you're here today.
Thanks, Christine. So nice to be with you. I appreciate the interview and you caring about what I do.
Well, absolutely. I care because you help my clients, and I think the world needs to know how you help them too. Because
Oh,
you're not just in it for the one client that you're working for. You've got an entire resource of things for the whole community, and it's important we know about these things. So we'll just dive right in. Tell me,
okay.
what would you say that it is you do? What problem do you solve for people?
Yeah, the transaction of a real estate sale or purchase is complicated, and I am an expert guide. So you wouldn't go climb Everest by yourself and not know what you're doing. You would probably do some research to begin with, but ideally, you may take a guide. You may go with somebody who has been on that mountain before because they know what they're doing, and that's exactly what I do for people during the real estate process is I get them through that whole complicated real estate process, all the contracts, all the legalities, negotiations, inspections, appraisals, lending. That's the very first step really is lending. But I get them through with expert guidance.
Yeah, you do. I love that analogy. You're a
Thank you.
realtor Sherpa.
Yes,
Great.
exactly. A realtor Sherpa.
Uh, how appropriate too. Okay, so when somebody's right before they call you and they're doing their research, they're on Google, they're trying to figure things out, what is it that they might be facing before they call you?
Yeah, real estate and purchasing or selling a house is not something that people do just on the weekend for fun. So it is something that people have thought about. So what are they doing beforehand? They're probably on Zillow a lot, looking at a house if they're a buyer. They're seeing what's out there in the real estate market at this time of when they're interested. It could be that they've had a change of jobs or they're moving to a new city or they're getting married and changing their location of their home. So it usually starts, I would say, a minimum of 3 months before somebody makes that big change, but it probably starts before that even. And so, what is somebody doing before they call me or start asking about finding a realtor? They are curious. They're home curious. And so they are looking at Zillow. They are possibly knowing that their job is changing. They're getting married. They may have had a new baby or maybe a divorce, possibly a death. Those are the life events that happen that usually make somebody move. But those first time home buyers, they've been saving and saving and saving, and they're thinking about it probably 3 to 5 years before they even make that phone call. So I have a client who was moving, selling their family home in California, and it was his family home, but they had been married and together for quite a while, this couple. But they wanted to retire in Colorado because they were from Colorado. They had grown up here in Littleton, Colorado, and they wanted to move back here when they retired. But he had a family home that he needed to fix up and sell back in California. And so they had been working on that for years. His mom had passed. The house was, his now to manage and deal with. And so that had been a long process. But, somebody who gets a job change notice and they know that they have to move in 6 months, that's a little quicker process.
Sure, absolutely. Do you have any specific clients that you might be able to share with us that what their journey was like, kind of what prompted them to sell and how they found you? And
Yeah, I have a client that lived in my community, and she was a single lady, got married over the years, and she and her husband decided they wanted to start a family. She owned a home in my community, which was a town home, and she knew that they wanted to start a family, so they decided to start looking. And after they got married, and then realized that they probably needed a realtor, and I had helped her out with tax valuations and had helped her out with um, trying to remember the word. It's like a I'm so sorry. It's anyway, I helped her out with some valuations of her house, let's say that. And she remembered me from helping her freely out of nothing. And she called me and said, "Hey, we're thinking about moving. We'd also like to sell our home, our current home, townhome." And so we started looking. I met them at their house, looked at their current home, talked through, what their value of their home is, what I thought that the highlights were of their home, what I thought the issues were that might need to be updated, and price. What do we think the price is? And with price, I really like to start with a 30,000-foot view and then move in closer to listing date. So with this couple, they were planning on purchasing before they bought. So that was something that I kept an eye on and watched their townhome price. But then we started going out and looking at other homes and finding out what their needs were. Do you want a 3 bedroom or a 4 bedroom? Do you want 2 bathrooms or 4 bathrooms? Do you need a garage? How big? Do you need a yard? Is it fenced? Do you have animals? You're planning on having children. How many, bedrooms do you really need? And do you need offices at this time? And will those offices become bedrooms? How will that work for you 5 years down the road when you have 2 or 3 kids in the household? You don't want to be making a big change right then when you're full, but you need to also work at home. So thinking ahead down the road as to what their needs might be, and during the looking process, I listen. I listen for what they're saying. I'm listening for, oh, a 2-car garage, we could make that work. I don't ever want to put somebody in a situation where they can make it work. I know that that might happen sometimes, but I'm really looking for, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. This is exactly what I need. This is abundant in all the things that I've been looking for. So I actually listen to the clients when they're walking through the house and talking. And then if we get in the car and go to the next house, they might give me some more insight as to what they thought about that home. And all of those things are very important. I listen for the words like, oh, we could make this work, or I can work with that. No, I want something that's where they're saying in their conversation, this is awesome. This is amazing. I love this. I can't believe we found something so fantastic. So that's what I'm listening for with clients. And once that couple found their house, we knew it. We all knew it. It was a feeling. It's a very visceral feeling when you find that house, as you know. So people light up. They glow. They are like giddy, like they're in love for the first time. It's really an amazing process. It's almost like a birthing process, and I know that we've found it. So and then we might put a contract in if they're that happy with it, and then the process really starts. Like all of that pre stuff is what you think of buying a house, but then the real process starts, and that's where my expert guidance comes in and shines the most. So I take them through inspections and appraisals, making sure that their lender is informed and that what they're doing and what we're planning on doing is within the boundaries of their loan if they're having a loan. If it's a cash sale or a purchase, that's even better. There's less guidelines and less restrictions on the process. And then, of course, I tie it up at the end with a little bow in closing. And that's something that I organize. Not every real estate agent will take a client all the way to the end. Many agents will take them through the inspection process and then hand them off to the transaction manager and title person to close the process on their own. But I don't do that. I take them all the way to the end. So
I
get them in their new
love
house.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. So you said that you listened closely to what they're saying, but I'll bet that there's an aspect of listening to what they're not saying too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. Another couple that I worked with, they really didn't want to spend a certain high level of money. and they had this maximum amount that they could spend on their house. And I overheard them after working with them for 3 months, showing them several houses. We had gone through many contracts. It was a very competitive time in the market. And after, spending all this time with them, I overheard them saying in the other room, well, we can't go to this maximum amount because we have to pay the commission. And I thought, what are they talking about? They're buyers. Typically, a seller will pay the commission. I don't think that they understand what's the process is. And so I gingerly walked into the conversation in this house that we were looking at and said, "Can I just overheard you say something about commissions? Can you tell me more about that?" And they told me what they understood. It was during 2024 when things were changing with the National Association of Realtors, and there was a lawsuit going on. It was very confusing, especially for the public. And their information was wrong. They did not have to pay the commissions for my efforts. They didn't have to pay my success fee, as long as the sellers were. And most sellers are still paying those commissions. So they were able to offer $40,000 more on the next house that they liked. And that's the house they actually got. And it
Oh,
checked all the boxes for them. So all the other houses that we had lost out on were not quite right for them. So I think it was a blessing in disguise because they were able to keep it all contained. They had lost the other offers that they had made, but this house really did check all the boxes for them, and they were able to offer a good price, and we got the deal. They got the house.
oh, how incredibly satisfying to be able to
It
help people through that. Man, it is a journey. As somebody who's moved as many times as I have, that expertise, that Sherpa, right, that is invaluable. Um, and it's good to hear that even in Colorado, even after that lawsuit that happened, buyers are still willing to pay the commission for most cases. Yeah.
sellers are
I mean,
willing to
I'm
pay.
sorry.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yeah, and the
correcting me.
buyers don't have to. That's the
Yeah.
good part, is that buyers don't have to, because buyers, as you know, are gathering their down payment. They're getting their earnest money. They're paying for an inspection and an appraisal and moving costs. I mean, that's none of that is cheap. So
Yeah. So when somebody does pick up the phone and they call you, talk to me about what is that initial phone call or the first appointment that you have with somebody? What's that like with you?
yeah, so I'm usually if people I actually have never ever had anybody find me out of the blue and not have been referred to me. So that is a blessing. So it's usually a soft or a warm handoff from somebody they know that also knows me. I may know that person through business. I may know that person through a transaction that I've helped them with, or maybe their family member. But um, the initial contact is usually through a quick phone call or a text, and then we set up a time. If that call is going well and it seems like we would work well together, then we set up a time for me to come and see their house or meet them at a coffee shop or someplace convenient for them that is comfortable, so that I can go through an intake process. And I have some standard things that I ask. What price range are you looking at? Have you pre-qualified with a lender? What are your needs? How many bedrooms, bathrooms, etc., like we just talked about. Um, and then we get to, their desires, their wants, and their must-haves, and then their dreams. And that's really the fun part, to talk about that, see them light up so that I can see what that looks like, what I'm looking for at the end process, what is that lights them up, and so that I can see a really positive yes on that side. So we talk a little bit about the practicalities and the process, but I really want to get to know them and see their heart and help them get where they're going, find their place in the world, as Compass says.
Yeah. You've said a couple times that being pre-qualified is a really important first step. Um, do you have specific lenders that you've got real good partnerships with to help them through that?
I do. So many places loan money, Rocket Money, and credit unions, and Wells Fargo, and other online lenders. There's so many ways to purchase a house, but the best way, especially if you're not an investor or somebody who has been very familiar with this process in the past, the best way is to find a local independent broker or loan officer that is available all the time, evening, nights, and weekends. That's when real estate happens. And it can happen 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, but not generally because that's when people are usually working. So I have such a great group of lenders that I can refer people to, and I really like to match stage of life as well as personalities when I'm connecting resources. And I have resources for many other things too, like contractors and um, builders, roofers, landscaping, things like that. But a lender is really the first place to start, to know exactly what is comfortable for a buyer to pay in their monthly payments, and to know that they can qualify for a home that is priced at a price that is comfortable for them on a monthly payment. And that is kind of a big, long process. You might be able to look up a mortgage calculator, but does it include your HOA fees? Does it amortize? Are you going to do a 15-year loan or a 30-year loan? And that's everything that the lenders will talk about. And it too is a process. It's maybe not the funnest part of buying a house, but it is necessary to get pre-qualified, pre-approved. Pre-qualified is yes, you look good on paper. Pre-approved is we will give you a loan. And that's
Oh,
really the ideal thing to get is pre-approved.
that's good to know. Okay, thank you for the difference in that. Um, so other than mortgage people, I heard you say that you're connected with some roofers and some contractors. What other kind of professionals do you usually collaborate with? What kind of professionals are you looking to collaborate more with? Maybe you haven't found the right, I don't know, XYZ. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, great question. So, as you know, I belong to the Silver Support Network, and I have amazing resources there. Many of the people that I work with, because I'm a senior real estate specialist, are older, and older isn't necessarily an age. Sometimes it's I need assisted living because I had a stroke when I was 50, um, or it's you know people that are looking for their parents. It's not necessarily that I'm working with their elderly parent, but I'm working with the kids. And so the resources that I have are vast. Everything from, the hard tradesmen like electricians and HVAC and landscaping and concrete work, things like that. But on the soft skills of the Silver Support Network, it's people like placement services or home health aides or home health care. Maybe somebody, the kids think that mom is ready to move into assisted living or needs more help than mom thinks she needs. And so mom wants to stay in the house. Well, that is fine. I will be there when mom's ready to go, and I'll make this process easy for her and the kids. But in the meantime, let's make sure that mom's safe and make sure that mom gets the help that she needs and that the kids feel like they're getting the communication from maybe a home health care agency that's working with them that I can refer them to. So,
Yeah.
medical equipment, durable medical equipment, where to place that in a home. I have people that can come into people's homes and make them safe to age in home until they're ready to sell that home. And I am an advocate for staying at home as long as possible. And I'm also an advocate for getting to a community or a safer space as soon as is necessary. And I can help with both sides of that.
Oh, I love that. So on both sides. Ah,
Mhm.
what is something that you wish people knew more about you, either, personally, or what makes you stand out from other senior real estate specialists? Or, yeah, tell me a little bit about what do you want people to know about you?
Yeah, I think I'm, you know, learning. I come from a medical background, and not. I wasn't a doctor, I wasn't a nurse. I worked in pharmacy. I worked as a massage therapist. I worked in an ambulatory medical center. I was a medical assistant and I sold durable medical equipment when I was young. So I have a knowledge and an understanding of a certain time in life, right? It's that time when you start needing those things, and it might be because of an accident or an injury, but most of the time it's going to be because of age. And one, age does not scare me. Also, diseases do not scare me. Parkinson's, Huntington's, autism, having, rehabilitating from a stroke or cancer, those diseases do not scare me. And I really just feel it viscerally that those are the people that need the best guidance, and to consider their life circumstances. And I think that a lot of other real estate agents may not have that experience from their past that I do, to be able to work and incorporate not only, do you need 3 or 4 bathrooms, but how big is that door that you're needing to get into? Do you have a walker? Do you have a wheelchair that needs to go through it? Is the floor slippery? Do you have a guidance dog? And this location that we're looking at for your new house doesn't allow animals. Those are all very important things, especially to the person who is looking to move. And I would hate to have them work with somebody else and find out that that person doesn't know that niche. And so I really care about my clients, and not just about the real estate transaction, but about everything that's happening in their life and how I can get them to the next home, in the best way possible. Um, Let me see if I can say that a little better. So I care. Um, I go above and beyond to help my clients because I care about every aspect of their life, not just making this transaction work for me, but it has to work for them. And I will do my best to listen to what they're saying. I'll listen in the back for what they're not saying in the background about their needs, especially if there is a medical issue involved. And I will incorporate and marry those two things to get them into the best house.
For those of you watching, you probably don't know, but Becky was my realtor last summer, helping me buy the house that I live in. And, we're in our 50s and we had a tri-level with a sunken living room and a basement, and there were just stairs everywhere. Trips and falls are the number one reason people have to leave their home. So we didn't want to be in a place where we were in a crisis. We decided to be proactive and hire Becky to get a ranch level style house. And everything that she's saying, she absolutely lived out. Your listening ability, Becky, your compassion, your man, you fought like a dog in a couple of the situations. It got sticky for a little bit and you saved it. Like you were amazing. So I just want to give a shout out, on a personal level. I know how good you are. And I'm so excited that you're a part of the Silver Support Network. I'm excited that you're here and sharing with the world what you do and how you do it. What is the best way people can contact you?
Text. It is the
Yeah.
best way to get me.
Okay.
And I'm
And what is that
sorry, a phone
number?
call. Yeah, so that number is 720-299-2100. And that is the quickest way that you can get a response from me. And I will respond to every single text that comes in. It may take me a little while to get back to a phone call.
Okay, that's great to know. And for some of those that are, they're up at 2:30 in the morning because they're freaking out about things and they email you because they don't want to text and have your phone go off in the middle of the night. Is that okay too?
That's perfect. Yeah, as you know, yes, absolutely. Please
I
email me
might be
those middle of the
asking,
night.
I might be asking a very poignant question of something I personally have done. Yeah. All right. Well, Becky, thank you so much. And thank you for all you do for our community and for your clients.
Thank you, Christine. I appreciate the interview. Take care.